Hello. Can you hear me? This is just a test to see, and then we will start in just a few seconds. It should be going well. Let me check. Voice check. Okay, everything looks like it is working well. Hello Inside Line Racing League 44. Okay, everything is good. I'm just gonna lower my voice a little bit. I think I'm way too loud. Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Kirklin and welcome once again to Nitrous Racing League, where we are going to be racing. Today's track on the calendar is of course Portimao. The track debuted in 2020 has made pretty mediocre races in its 2-year lifespan, with both races won by Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes. This is also the track where Hamilton scored his 92nd Grand Prix win, breaking Michael Schumacher's previous record of the most Formula 1 Grand Prix wins. So that is a very interesting fact indeed. The track is 4.653 kilometers or 2.891 miles long and is made out of 15 corners, 3 slow speed, 5 medium speed and 7 fast speed corners. Sector 1 is mainly made out of fast speed corners. The only exceptions are turn 3 and turn 4, where our drivers will need to be careful to not spin the car, as turn 4 is a uphill and it really unsettles the car. Sector 2 starts in the middle of the second straight, and it has a lot of medium speed corners containing one of the most difficult part of the track, turn 8, aka Samsung, a uphill going to an instant downhill, so expect a lot of drivers to see spinning there, as it's a really difficult corner to master. It's a pretty okay corner to learn, but really hard to master. And finally, we have Sector 3 starting just after turn 11, aka Portimao, and has the fastest corner on the track, turn 15, aka Galp, which our drivers will need to get a good exit and a good exit speed if they want to challenge for position on the start-finish rate or just before turn 1. We will go in a more in-depth analysis after we go on board with one of our drivers. We have 5 compounds of tires, with 2 wet weather compounds and 3 dry weather compounds, with them being the hardest, with C3, C2 and C1 being used in Portimao. So tire wear is quite an issue if we are forced to use the hardest compounds. So it is going to be an interesting thing to see what our drivers will prefer in terms of strategy in the race. Rain is also pretty common here, so it's not going to be surprising to see if it comes. We are also going to be experimenting with some post-race interviews, so stay tuned for that, as the only exception is I haven't done those in a while, so I really hope it goes well. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoy those, and yeah. We do not have a lot of drivers today. We will only have around 12 to 13 drivers. A lot of people unavailable, of course, which is quite a shame, but I hope that for next time it's going to be good. I have also switched my streaming platforms. I used Streamlabs before, now I use OBS. I can stream with higher quality. I hope it looks good. I hope it's not lagging at all. Normal OBS, it looks like it's a pretty good streaming service, so way better than Streamlabs, as it looks like my game is not lagging that much, like when I use Streamlabs for my own streams. So it's going to be good. I don't think we have any debutants today. Maybe Mutant, but I'm not sure. We will have Eduardo, our race winner in Mexico, driving for Mercedes. His teammate Alexander taking win in the first race, driving alongside him. They are currently leading the Constructors' Championship, so let's see if they can extend the lead. Patrick Sogard follows them in the Red Bull, and then we have the duo of Sabit Bass and Mutant Unlimited in the Aston Martin. Ferrari is Superzaken. In the AlphaTauri we have Giovanni, who was battling with Eduardo in Mexico for the race win. Let's see if he manages to keep the pace today as well and maybe take the win today. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. His teammate Marvin Murr is currently not going to be racing today, so let's see if he can join us next time. In the Alfa Romeo we have the duo of Good Roman and Nem. In the Haas we have Gods, and in the Williams we have Driris and HD Storm. So quite a few constant drivers. So let's see how they cope with the pace today. Like I said, Portimao is a pretty difficult track to master, especially as it has a lot of elevation changes. It has a lot of uphills and downhills, and then more uphills and then more downhills. So it's a really difficult corner to master, but it's a hell of a lot of fun to drive on it. At least I like it. At least I don't know for anyone else, but for me it's an amazing track. So yeah, I don't know what we are currently waiting on. Let me just check. Maybe we are waiting for some more people. But I'm not sure. I really do not know what is happening. But yeah, the stream quality looks good. If anyone in chat can tell me if you can hear me good, if the game is a bit too quiet or if I'm too loud or something like that, just to make a few final tweaks just before we start the race. If anyone has the time to tell me that, of course. But looking from my perspective, everything looks to be good. And looks like we should be reading up in just a second. Looks like we were having just a few final tweaks on the lobby, just to set up the settings. We currently do not have our main host from Curley, or you may also know him as Lucas in the McLaren. He is unavailable for today. Let's hope that he returns and takes another podium, just like in Saudi Arabia. Thank you, Liz, for the update, and I hope that you enjoyed today's commentary and the race, as we are currently readying up for the race. So we have a 18-minute short qualifying, which is going to be preparing us for the race, which is going to be 50% of the main race in real life. So it's going to be half of the real life race. So we are going to have 33 laps, which is quite a lot. It is going to take us around 40 to 50 minutes to complete. Strategy-wise, I think a one-stop is definitely possible, going from softs to mediums or mediums to hards. The only exception is going to be rain. Which, like I said in the intro, is quite common here as well. Thank you, Marco, for the brief, and I hope you enjoyed today's commentary and the race, as we are going underway. Let's see if it's going to be raining, and looks like it is dry currently, which is very good to see, as rain is not really good in Portimao for a lot of other drivers. So let's just hope that everything goes well. We already have a few people going on medium tires. Patrick in the Red Bull and Eduardo in the Mercedes already putting their mediums on, and that might give us a indication that rain is not going to be in the race, but it's a very big shame that that us spectators and commentators cannot check that. I seriously do not know how Codemasters didn't think about spectators seeing if it's going to rain or not. I seriously do not know how they didn't come up with that idea. So if anyone in chat who is also racing, can you just say if it's going to be raining or not? Just so we have more info on everything. As our first guy out on track is Gods in the Haas, going for soft tires and is currently saving fuel. The setup is also pretty difficult to get right. The track has a lot of corners but also has a lot of straights, so it's you really have a dilemma if you want to have a low downforce setup or a high downforce setup. So if you can maintain the pace in the corners, it's good to run a low downforce setup, then attack in the start finish straight, which is really long, and attack on the second straight, which also has a DRS zone. So maybe a low downforce setup is good, but a high downforce setup might also be good, but you do lose a lot on the straights. So like I said, it's quite a dilemma to figure out what you want to do. But as we are on board with Gods, he is going to be starting his first flying lap of the session. Let's see how he copes. Going on to turn 1 right now, it's a downhill, and you really want to go wide as the apex is quite tight, as he takes it pretty safely but overshoots in turn 3, but doesn't invalidate. Goes to turn 4 where he nearly invalidates but catches the car. Very impressive indeed. Like I said, that's one of the most difficult parts to master. Going to turn 5, also nearly spins, but still pretty okay. Turn 6 and 7 are nearly flat out. You want to lift off only a little bit. Going to turn 8 or Samsung. You want to short shift from 3rd to 4th gear if you want to get the most stability and not spin. Going to turn 10 or Portimao, he runs deep again, just like in turn 3, but still has purple sector 2, as this is the first flying lap. Turn 11 is, turn 13 is taking quite safely as well, as he runs a bit deep but gets a pretty good exit off of turn 14. Going to turn 15, and let's see, he takes a major inside curb just to get that a little bit more speed, and sets a lap time of a 1:19.3. Not a bad lap time, but not the greatest. The Mercedes just behind him, Eduardo, puts a 2.5 second faster lap time than Gods, as he sets a 1:16.964, which is really fast, and even on mediums. So if no one can challenge that lap time, he will stay in pole position. Let's go on board with his teammate, who currently actually invalidates his lap, so that is quite unfortunate indeed. He will have to go into the pit lane, or if he does have enough fuel, maybe he can do another lap, as this was actually his second flying lap, so I think he will be better just to go into the pit lane. But I do see some clouds in the air. I don't know if that's a indication of rain, but I guess we have a lot of time to see, as we have 13 minutes left in the session. Only 6 people setting the flying lap, as Giovanni, the contender for the win in Mexico, currently invalidated his lap, his first flying lap, to say the least. But yeah, there is still a lot of time to do that. As Super Zaken left the session, looks like we have some issues already with disqualifications. I hope those get fixed. As Alexander goes into the pit lane, we will see a change of tires, as no one really has a chance of snatching pole position from Eduardo, as the closest guy is Mutant Unlimited in the Aston Martin with a 1:17.3. Still 4/10 off of Eduardo's time, which was set on mediums. Still very impressive indeed. So if no one can challenge that, that is going to be our pole sitter for today's race, Eduardo again, who actually won last time in Mexico, taking the win by around 20 seconds as Giovanni went into the pit lane to change tires and go for a fine lap, as he had just enough gap from his teammate. As we are currently going to be on board with him, let's see if he manages to snatch pole position from Eduardo. Going to turn 1, let's see if he takes it well. Hugs the inside curb, doesn't touch the sausage curb, takes it pretty nicely indeed. Turn 3 on the inside, very nice, and turn 4 doesn't lose the car on the exit. Puts the fastest sector 1 time currently. That is a really good indication, so looks like he has the pace at the moment. Let's see if he manages to take Samsung well, as he is going here. Like I said, you want to go early shift or a short shift from 3rd to 4th. You can also go 4th to 5th, but I think having better rotation with 3rd to 4th is going to be better in the end and for your exit, as he loses the car just after turn 11, Portimao, but still sets the fastest sector 2 and nearly spins the car again, but thankfully manages to catch it and goes really wide and invalidates that flying lap, which is very unfortunate, as that would have been the fastest lap. Let's see what he would have set. A 1:16.5, yeah, that would have been the fastest lap of the session, but he will have to be a bit more patient, as there is 10 minutes left until the end of the session. The only guy doing a medium time is Nem in the Alfa Romeo, a 1:18.5, 1.6 seconds off Eduardo's pace in P1. So Eduardo looking pretty good to take another win, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. F1 is always very unpredictable, and that is why we love the sport. As we see them going out on track on mediums again. So he wants to improve. If you don't know, if you qualify in the top 10, you will have to start on the tires you qualified on. So for example, Eduardo did his flying lap on mediums, so he will have the privilege to start on those tires, which it's always better to start on worse tires and then end the race on faster tires, as you have better pace and low fuel at the end of the race, so it's just better pace overall. As Sabbath in the Aston Martin is currently on a flying lap, a 1:18.3 was his previous lap. Let's see by how much he can improve in this one, as Patrick in the Red Bull follows him right behind, starts his flying lap as well. Hello F1 Lover 44, I hope you enjoyed today's commentary and the race, and yeah, currently on board with Sabbath, who actually got beaten by HD Storm in the Williams by a time of 1:17.8 on softs. Pretty good lap time, still 1 second slower than Eduardo, so I don't think we will see anyone challenging for that position. As Sabbath is looking really slow off of Portimao turn 11, and locks up into turn 13 and spins. So that is very unfortunate indeed, as he was improving, but there is still a lot of time. Let's go on board with Patrick, who is just behind him, a purple sector 2 actually. Very interesting indeed, as we don't want to see Sabbath holding him up, as Dirty Air is really harsh in Portimao especially. As Sabbath moves aside, let's see if he manages to take pole position, and looks like he won't, but he takes second place by 13 thousandths of a second, a 1:17.323. Very good indeed. That secures the last place on the front row if no one beats him, but our main contenders for the win, or the podium actually, currently not setting the lap, as Alexander and Giovanni currently going out on track. Let's see if they can improve. Maybe their strategy is to start below the top 10. as they will have a free choice of tire to have in the race, which might be beneficial, but I don't know how much beneficial that could be. There aren't a lot of people today, so not a lot of traffic, so I mean, maybe, but that just gives Eduardo a better chance to just pull away from everyone and take another win. If he doesn't mess up, of course. But yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see. Thank you, Dino B11223333 for the follow, and thank you, StormMarco10 for the follow 11 hours ago. Thank you very much. I hope if you are watching today that you enjoyed today's stream and the commentary. As let's go on board with Alexander, the other Mercedes, the teammate of Eduardo, won in Saudi Arabia. Let's see if he manages to keep up the pace. Finished in P4 last week in Mexico. So not bad at all, as he is doing a lap on mediums. He takes a pretty good line off of turn 1 and goes a little bit wide, but thankfully he doesn't invalidate. Going to turn 3, takes a really deep line and looks like he will back off as... Wait, my microphone was cut off. Are you serious? Maybe I touched something. Oh, that's so stupid. Like, I was literally talking the entire time and you didn't hear anything. Oh, that's bad. That's not good. It's probably because I'm moving to OBS. I'm using a new I'm using a new stream recorder. I moved from Streamlabs to OBS, and it's taking a little bit of time to get used to. It's mostly the same, but yeah, I think I had some hotkeys which I pressed accidentally. But yeah, what I was talking about is that Mercedes are currently leading in the constructors, and the only people that could possibly challenge for that are the AlphaTauris, as they took pretty good positions in Mexico, P3 and P4 respectively, for Giovanni. I mean P2 and P3 respectively for Giovanni and Marvin Mir. As Alexander puts a lap time of a 117.069 with mediums. He is 1/10 off of his teammate, so this is looking to be a really good front row lockout for the Mercedes boys. Let's see if they can keep this up, as Giovanni also going for mediums. But yeah, it's just way too impressive to see how much pace the Mercedes guys have compared to everyone else on the field. It's pretty unbalanced in my opinion. Other people don't really have a chance to fight for podiums or wins, but we might see a gradual incline with pace from everyone else. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see, as Giovanni is currently preparing to start his flying lap. We are going to be on board with him. There are 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the until the end of the session, so our drivers do have 1 or 2 more chances for a flying lap, and Giovanni currently making a lot of mistakes during this qualifying session. Let's hope that he doesn't make another one, as he takes it pretty well in the first 3 turns, messing that place up 3 times in a row, but currently looking pretty well. Ending sector 1, a 21.949. I think that's 1 or 2 tenths off of pole time from Eduardo, who is looking pretty safe. He is not going out for another lap, so he wants to start on those mediums. Giovanni going to Samsung right now, turn 8, and loses the car and backs off. So he still has enough time to do another lap, but he doesn't have much time. If he makes 1 more mistakes and backs out of it, that's going to be his qualifying session over. So he needs to do something quick, and he needs to do something efficiently, as Eduardo retires from the session. We do see an improvement from Patrick Sogard, to say the least, putting fresh softs and putting a fastest sector 2 time. So let's see if he can maybe snatch a pole position from Eduardo, or maybe take P2 from Alexander, as he's going to turn 15 right now. Giovanni moving aside to not give dirty air, and he might also get some slipstream from Patrick, as he sets a lap time of a 1:17.253, still 2 tenths off of second place. Let's keep on board with Giovanni, as he did lap time of a 1:37. Not good. 20 seconds off the pace, but he is getting a little bit of dirty air of the car ahead of him, and a little bit of slipstream as well. So Giovanni needs to do a lap right now. He doesn't have room to make mistakes, as he goes nearly off the track with all 4 wheels, which could have invalidated his lap and ruined all of his qualifying session, as he takes a pretty bad line in Samsung, goes to turn 9, which is a flat out corner, turn 10 and turn 11, a continuous sequence of corners. Takes it pretty well. You could also cut on the inside a little bit. The sausage curb is not really a sausage curb. You can really ride it with your front right tire, and you won't really get penalized for it, and you can really gain quite a few time there. But looks like he took it quite safely, but this is not going to be a good lap time. Let's see where this puts him. A 1:16.6 actually snatches pole position from Giovanni, which is very, very good indeed. He will start in pole position. So our 3 championship contenders, Giovanni, Eduardo and Alexander, starting on mediums. Very interesting indeed. I cannot wait to see what strategies they will ensure in the race, as this is going to be the end of the qualifying session. So a pretty big gap from P1 to P11, 2 seconds almost, but the midfield is looking very close indeed. I think that is going to be the show that we are going to experience, the major show. Unfortunate for Super Zakin in the Ferrari, who couldn't set the lap time, leaving the session quite early on, and couldn't rejoin the session in time. So he will have a lot of challenges in the race. But very, very good qualifying session from Giovanni in the AlphaTauri. Takes pole position on mediums with a lap time of 1:16.619, and it's actually very interesting how all 3 championship contenders are actually Brazilian. So maybe they're all just in a voice call, just talking to each other and saying, "Hey, you need to let me pass. I want to win here," or something like that. Eduardo follows Giovanni right behind and finishes the front row of the grid. Next we have Alexander, Eduardo's teammate Mutant on the second row, Patrick and HD Storm in the third row, Good Roman and Nem in the fourth row, and Drietes and Gods finishing the top 10 of the grid. All of these drivers will have to start on these tires that they set lap time on. Then we have Sabatbas and Superzaken, unfortunately not setting his lap time, and both of them will have a free choice of tire. Unless there is going to be rain, which looks like is not going to be the case with our top 3 drivers setting the fastest lap time on mediums. And that was confirmed. So that is going to be very interesting indeed. Like I said before, a one stop is definitely possible. You can go from softs to mediums or softs to hards if you want to be completely safe. But you will lose a lot of time on everyone aside you, who probably will go for mediums. Or if people start on mediums, they can go for softs until the end of the race, like Eduardo, Giovanni, and Alexander. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And looks like my microphone is working still. Looks like it didn't cut off yet, thankfully, finally, and I hope it stays that way. But yeah, we are currently waiting for our drivers to put their setups on, do the final few tweaks for their strategies, put enough fuel to last them at the end of the race, and we are starting the formation lap. And it is going to be very interesting. We do have 3 main contenders for the win today, as Giovanni, Eduardo, and Alexander are looking quite pacey today. Alexander, I think he might struggle a little bit, as last time he finished 4th in Mexico. That was with bad luck, as he spun in the first lap by an unfortunate incident with one driver behind. So he couldn't really get close to these guys. But Giovanni and Eduardo seriously looking really well to take the win, or at least a podium. And maybe he can close the gap to the constructors. The only problem is that his teammate Marvin Murr is currently not racing today, so Mercedes do have the advantage there. Yeah, the alternate strategy is not really good. The 2-stop definitely loses you way too much time. 1 stop is definitely the best case scenario for everyone, and like I said, it's very easy to go from softs to mediums or from mediums to hards, and that's what we should be expecting from our drivers today. Hello, Dean Greininger. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Welcome to the stream, and I hope you enjoyed today's commentary and the race, if you will stay long. As we are currently waiting for our drivers to put their cars on the grid, and we should be starting the race in just a few moments. We only have 5 people going to medium tires. Looks like Sabatpass and Zobrazaken don't actually want to start on mediums, which is actually a really interesting strategy from the only guys starting below the top 10. So let's see what their pace is going to be. They probably want safety car to come out, but we'll have to wait and see. As we have 5 red lights, and it's long hauled up as always, and we are on the way for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and looks like Eduardo actually got a really good line, but Giovanni is just squeezing him, but Eduardo looks like stays behind, but Giovanni gets goes really deep, and looks like Eduardo has the inside line. Giovanni trying to go around the outside, trying to defend this position, but Eduardo looks like he might get P1 today, as they are going side by side just before turn 5. Giovanni has the inside line, and let's see if he gets a better exit. He squeezes him a little bit off track, and they are still side by side. Giovanni and Eduardo going into turn 7. This is not really a place where you want to go side by side, as Giovanni trying to go around the outside into turn 8 of Samsung, and they touch a little bit, but thankfully no major contact, as they still go side by side into turn 10 and 11. But Giovanni has a wider line and will get a better exit, and I think this is place secured for Giovanni. Very, very impressive stuff from Giovanni and Eduardo, keeping it very clean in these beginning stages of the race and fighting very hard for that position. Alexander, Eduardo's teammate, just following him, or just following them right behind, as Eduardo now has a slipstream on Giovanni, and he is not using any of his ERS because looks like he is running a much less downforce setup, as now he has the inside line, as Giovanni is not defending it and squeezes him a little bit off track. I think that might be a warning for Giovanni, as he wanted to go for a dive as Alexander actually goes for a dive, and that is 1-2 for Mercedes, as we have a spin behind. It is HD Storm in the Williams, and we already have our first retirement of Drietes, the other Williams. So the Williams not looking really good for these final, for these beginning stages of the race. Both of them losing quite a lot of time to everyone else ahead of them. But yeah, that opening lap was incredible. That was very clean and very, very good to see. And I hope that we have more of these for the remainder of the race. As currently Eduardo is leading the race, Alexander following him right behind, took a really big dive bomb into turn 4, capitalizing on Giovanni's lockup and taking it pretty well. He's also leaving a way too big gap to his teammate, as the virtual safety car actually transforms into a full safety car. And Eduardo is actually going into the pit lane. That I did not expect, and looks like the Mercedes boys were actually speaking to each other. Maybe that's why he was slowing down by a lot, as Giovanni overtakes Alexander just before the pit entry, as he gets hauled up by the Williams by a little bit, and I think that Alexander actually lost a position in the pit lane from Giovanni, so that's not really good for him, as all of these drivers go on hards. I really don't know if hards can go until the end, but looking for from these drivers, it looks like they might do. Patrick has a really good advantage going for softs, so if he can overtake all of these drivers in just a few laps and pull away from them, I think going to mediums might be a better strategy than going on hards until the end of the race, which is seriously very interesting. Yeah, I seriously do not know what they are doing. Let's actually see how many positions everyone improved. So currently we have a tie between God, Sabitbass and Sobrazaken, who currently did not pit for better tires. All of these drivers improved by 7 positions, and the duo of Alfa Romeo currently leading today's race 1 and 2, taking 6 positions off of their starting positions. And these 5 guys are the only guys that haven't stopped yet on softs and mediums. I think it could have been better to go into the pit lane, at least for God's Sabitbass and Superzaken. I think moving away from these soft tires as soon as possible could be advantageous, but I seriously don't know why Giovanni, Eduardo and Alexander went into the pit lane. I don't think that's the best decision, because these hards cannot go until the end. I don't think so, at least. So they will have to start to pit at the end of the race for at least softs to try and go for the fastest lap. Or maybe that's the that's the strategy. Go with fresh softs until like lap 25, pit for softs, and then go for the fastest lap, which they easily could have done with mediums. So they just lost track position because they went into the pit lane. They were P1, 2, and 3. Now they are P6, 7, and 8. So they just lost everything that they fought for. But I mean, I'm not the one to judge. It's their decision, and everyone else followed them right behind. As Mutant is also on hards, Patrick is on fresh softs, and HD Storm is currently on fresh mediums. So Patrick definitely needs to go into the pit lane, but he will have the advantage of the guys ahead of him because of those fresh softs. So maybe he can pull some overtakes in the beginning stages after the safety car ends, as it is going this lap. Finally, I actually hate safety cars when I commentate alone, because I really do not have a lot of things to talk about, as I do not have any jokes, and I don't really talk about strategies or that kind of stuff, as the Alfa Romeo is currently looking pretty well. So let's see when they are going to be starting. Looks like they are not holding the grid up as much as they would have wanted to, and we are underway as Gods actually gets a really good line off of Good Roman and takes P1. He does have the inside line and he will stay P1. We do have Giovanni behind, overtaking Super Zaken as he is still out of the session. Alexander trying to go for a cheeky dive bomb on Giovanni, but doesn't make it stick, as Giovanni now has a really good line on Eduardo and on Nem, and maybe on Sabbath Pass as well, as he makes it a triple overtake on these guys. But Sabbath Pass is not given that place easily, as he has the inside line off of turn 7, but he just lets him through. As Sabbath Pass spins in turn 8, I told you that we would have a lot of spins there. But Giovanni getting an incredible start, just pulling away from everyone and overtaking them as soon as possible. And Eduardo capitalizing on that as well. The only problem for Giovanni is now that he has slower cars ahead of him, so all of that gap that he managed to get from Eduardo to himself is going to be stricken away, as he will get a lot of dirty air if he doesn't manage to overtake Gods and Good Roman as soon as possible. As Good Roman puts the fastest lap time of the session, a 1:22.4, which is definitely going to be beaten, as Alexander currently overtakes Nem for P5 just before turn 1, even with no DRS, and that was a pretty good overtake indeed. As Giovanni takes a really good exit off of Gods, he is using a lot of his ERS, and he might go a cheeky dive bomb, and he does, and they touch only a little bit, and Gods gets a really bad exit, and Giovanni goes P2 in lap 6. Now he has Good Roman just ahead of him, and let's see if he can make that overtake stick, as it seems like he is actually maintaining the gap at the moment, as Eduardo trying to get closer to Gods, as he doesn't want to lose a lot of time. And his teammate actually is following him right behind, as Gods actually locks up a little bit, goes really deep into turn 12, but still is P3 as he goes really deep again in turn 14, and this might be a really risky as they touch, but thankfully no spins, and Gods takes a really wide line that might give Alexander the opportunity as well to make a move. Eduardo not defending the inside line, he doesn't need to defend, as he takes a really easy overtake on Gods, who is not really having a good race. He is really struggling on those old softs, so looks like the strategy of staying out didn't really pay off, as now Alexander is trying to make a move around the inside, as God is not defending And they touch a little bit, and Alexander actually spins into the wall. He has damage. And Gods, I think, as well. Yes, he does. Oh, that is very, very unfortunate indeed. For Alexander especially, as he pit for hearts, he will lose so much time. And he probably won't be able to regain that time. The only way to regain that is by a safety car, which will be pretty unlikely, as Suprazaken overtakes, even though he's not in the lobby. Or, yeah, he's not in the lobby. But yeah, Alexander very unfortunate with that, as God lets him through, maybe intentionally or maybe he just locks up. I don't really know. But yeah, that is very unfortunate indeed. As we do have a battle with our leaders, Good Roman is actually maintaining a really good distance between Giovanni and Eduardo, as Eduardo has DRS currently on the second straight just before turn 5, but this straight is just way too short to try and make a move. You need to be a bit closer, like 4 tenths, if you really want to try and overtake there. So he will have to stay behind just a little bit longer. But he does have a lot of dirty air by Giovanni. If you don't know what dirty air is literally dirty air coming from the car ahead who has clean air, and it reduces the levels of downforce that your car is able to produce. So you are going to be way slower in the corners. But it is beneficial if you're behind the car in the straight line, because then you get something called slipstream, and then that is actually beneficial as you get more straight line speed, which makes easier overtaking. But looks like Giovanni also got DRS on Good Roman, who is looking pretty good on his ERS. All of these guys are. All of them between 60 and 45 ERS respectively. But this is looking to be a really close battle, as Good Roman, I think if he manages to keep Giovanni behind him, or if they do overtake him, he's really looking well for a podium position today. The fellow Croat, we are from the same country, and this is going to look really well, especially from Giovanni and Eduardo, who are the fastest in PC1. So if he can take a podium, or maybe even just stay ahead of them for longer, this is going to be a very impressive race indeed from the fellow Alfa Romeo driver. As Eduardo is closing the gap to Giovanni just, and we have another spin. It is Gods, which is very unfortunate indeed. But like I said, Eduardo closing the gap on Giovanni, the AlphaTauri just ahead of him. We might see maybe a double overtake happening just before turn 1, as Good Roman does not have DRS, and looks like Giovanni is not using any of his DRS, so he will stay behind him for just a little bit longer. But Good Roman keeping really good pace on these guys, just behind him, the fastest guys. And Giovanni actually gets a pretty bad line off of turn 4, which I think gives Eduardo a little bit more time to gain. But yeah, currently things are looking pretty well, and when all of these guys will have the box, I think we still might see a pretty close battle, as we do have quite a few penalties happening with drivers behind. Patrick having a 3-second time penalty, and Gots having a 8-second time penalty. So not really looking good. Portimao is not really the most common track to get penalties at, as you really have a lot of space to track extend. Or if you do make a mistake, you have a lot of room to save your mistake. So penalties are not quite common here, which is very interesting indeed. The most positions gained goes to Super Zaken, but I don't think that counts, as he's currently not in the lobby. So let's say Good Roman currently looking very well for his third or let's say fourth race in this league, as the preseason race also counts as well. So yeah, really good race at the moment for Good Roman, who hasn't stopped yet. He can go on softs very easily after he gets to the pit stop phases of the race. Alexander puts the fastest lap time currently of a 119.5, as Good Roman actually gets a pretty bad line off of turn 8, and Giovanni trying to go around the inside. He will have a really good line, but Good Roman is not taking any of it. He is defending like crazy. He will stay P1 at the moment, but this reduces the gap between him and Giovanni, so I think Giovanni has a pretty good overtaking opportunity happening right here, and maybe Eduardo as well. So you might see a double overtake on Good Roman, and let's see. Eduardo trying to go on Giovanni, Good Roman defending the inside line, and that is a double overtake on Good Roman, but Eduardo has the inside line on Giovanni, and there was almost contact between Good Roman and Eduardo, but thankfully Good Roman managed to avoid that by braking a little bit earlier. Now Eduardo has DRS on Giovanni, and looks like he does not want to overtake him here, so he wants to stay a little bit more patient. But if Eduardo can keep these guys just ahead of him, that is going to be good, really good for his race, even though there is a 15-second gap between him and Mutant in the Aston Martin behind him, as both Eduardo and Giovanni get a really bad exit off of turn 8, both of them losing the car and saving it just. So that was impressive. And looks like Good Roman is still gonna be in the DRS range if he doesn't mess up these final corners. And I think because Giovanni and Eduardo will probably battle quite a lot in these stages of the race when the track evolution bumps up and the cars have lower fuel. Good Roman has really good chance to stay in this DRS range, as Eduardo goes around the inside. Giovanni not defending, but he does have a really good inside line, as Eduardo is defending it, and Eduardo currently stays P1, but Giovanni has the DRS for this next straight, for the second straight, and let's see if he tries to make a dive bomb like he did just before the safety car. He thinks about it, but I do that as well. I fake going for a dive bomb just to scare the driver ahead, to make them do a mistake. That is actually a very viable strategy. Make them think that you're gonna attack, and then they go wide, and you take the inside line and just overtake them. The only problem is that they might get a really good exit, so but most of the time they do not. So it's a really good strategy, in my opinion, to fake overtaking, and it works 50% of the time, let's say, but the other 50% drivers don't get phased by it. They already are informed about it. But looks like Patrick is actually going on the move on Sabbath Bass. We currently have a midfield battle with these guys, and Patrick going around the inside of Sabbath Bass, but Sabbath Bass has a really good line off of turn 11, but I think he's running medium traction, as he got a really bad exit speed off of that corner, as Nem overtakes Super Zaken, who is still of the session. Okay, can someone send him an invite, because this is not really looking good, as we do have another 3-second time penalty and a 5-second time penalty for Gods, as Sabbath Bass goes into the pit lane. And let's see what tires he will put on, as he is removing those 13 lap softs, going to mediums, probably to go until the end of the race, which these mediums can definitely do very easily. Gods also not having the best race that he wanted after his good safety car restart. in P2, and after that collision from Alexander, he's just losing way too much pace and already has a lot of penalties. Like, he has 16 seconds, that's not really what you want to do, and he's just corner cutting everywhere. He does have front wing damage. No, he doesn't. Okay. But why is he corner cutting everywhere? This is very interesting indeed. Oh, I'm getting an invite for racing as Gods extends again. Oh, his wheel is broken. I mean, does he have a keyboard? If my wheel was broken, I would try to play on keyboard. I played F1 from 2018 to 2020 or 2019 on keyboard. It was actually not that bad. And then in 2020, in the beginning, I got a wheel, and then when F1 2021 came out, I got a Logitech E923 True Force, and I've had that wheel ever since. And looking pretty well, I think. I really enjoy it, but the pedals are weird. You really have to get used to them. But Good Roman is currently out of the DRS range, but he still is on the podium position, so this is still a really good race for him. And if he manages to stay here, if he doesn't lose too much time to Mutant, he will stay P3. I mean, you really have to get used to the keyboard. When you drive on it for 2 years in a row, it's seriously not bad. I've played the entirety of 2018 and 2019 on keyboard. Or actually, I had 2019 for a free weekend. I did in 2 days. I did like 30 hours because I was very addicted to the game when it came out for a free weekend. And 2018, it was pretty difficult because of the weight distribution that they had there, because the car would just oversteer everywhere. Thankfully they removed that in 2019, so the cars are a little bit more balanced in terms of oversteering and losing the car on the throttle. So at least that's fixed, because weight redistribution is way too OP on the wheel, but on the pad and keyboard was just way too horrible to handle. And on 2016 it was actually pretty good on keyboard. I actually quite enjoyed it, but on the wheel it's way better. 2018 is not that bad. I think out of every F1 game, I think my favorite game would probably be 2020, in terms of overall consistency and in terms of bugs. I know that the bugs got really bad at the end of the 2020 cycle, but they are still nothing compared to what this game has. So 2020 definitely my favorite. That was also the start of my league racing campaign. I started it at the beginning of 2020. I mean 2021 on the 2020 game, and that's how I ended up here. That's also when I started commentating. So right at the exact same time when I started commentating, I started racing as well. As we do have a spin from Gods behind again, as Eduardo got slipstream and DRS from Gods. I mean Super Zaken in the Ferrari. So he did extend a little bit of his lead on Giovanni, but looks like Giovanni is just trying to stay in his slipstream, not really pushing too much, just saving the ERS, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to make a move. Yeah, I really enjoy 2021. It has the most F1 2021 is the most played game for me on Steam. I have 470 hours on it. On 2020 I had like 430 hours. So 2021 is seriously a good game, but the bugs really ruin it for me and make me not want to play it ever again. It's really stupid how even with EA's budget and how they bring more money to Codemasters for them to make a good game, they still mess it up and use all of that money on breaking mode or on breaking point. All of that money wasted for a story mode that is okay, but not the best. As we see Good Roman going into the pit lane for soft tires. We saw I think it was Zobrazaken or Sabbath Bass actually, going 13 laps on soft, so these tires can definitely go until the end. As now he is behind Mutant, who still hasn't pit, or he has pit under the safety car, so maybe he will have to go again. I don't know how much the hards wear out. Like I said, we are using the hardest compound of the 5. We are using C3, C2 and C1 tires, so the hardest compounds. So the hard tires might not wear as much as I think, but I do not really know because I never really used hards on this race, because I didn't really find a reason why I should use hards. You know what I think about what will happen in 2022 or in the F1 2022 game? I think Cody's will make a completely new game. I think they will want to change a direction, just like in real life, how F1 is getting these new regulations. I think that Codemasters are going to try to make something new and something different. That is just my opinion, and I really hope it does come true, because I'm kinda getting tired of this concept. It's a really good concept, don't get me wrong. It's probably the best concept of the game, but having it for 6 years in a row really makes it boring, because you get the same game all over again for 6 years in a row. So I really do hope that they will make something new for the 2022 game, along with the regulations coming in real life. I really do hope that in real life the cars will be closer in terms of battles. And have you guys seen the Aston Martin today? The livery. It is amazing. Jesus Christ, I love that livery. Definitely 10 out of 10 livery for me. One of my favorites. It's just perfect. The lime works so well. The front wing looks good. The livery, I mean, of the front wing. I do think that the front wing is a bit too high, which is weird, but the livery itself looks stunning, and I cannot wait to see it on track. But not a lot of overtaking happening in today's race, which I'm quite disappointed about, but that's what you expect when you only have 12 people racing. But we might see an overtake from Giovanni on Eduardo here, as they do have a gap of 4 thousandths of a second. But Giovanni taking a really wide line off of the final corner. And he's not really pushing too much. So yeah, I think we will just have to wait for that overtake. We are currently on lap 22 of 23. Let's check for the penalties. 3 seconds for Mutant, 6 seconds for Patrick, and 25 seconds for Gods. not having the best race he wanted today. And Good Roman is actually reducing his gap to Mutant, so he's doing a pretty good job to try and get that podium place, as Mutant gets another 3 seconds. The 2021 livery was good. It was okay, but the pink ruined it for me. If they didn't use the pink, and even if it would have been only a blank green car, it still would have been better without the pink. Because I think that pink just ruined everything on the car. And I couldn't really stand it. But everything else of the car was good. But that pink was not. As Good Roman actually spins. Let's hope that he doesn't lose too much pace because of that. And I hope that he still has the opportunity to take the podium. As Mutant, I think, still has the go into the pit lane, as well as Eduardo and Giovanni. But I don't really know what they want to do in terms of strategies. Being on board with these guys for the entire race right now, it seems like they are driving a bit conservatively. So they are not really attacking in the corners, so they are just saving the tires. Which is really what you want to do if you want to survive in Portimao. As we do have a battle finally with Sabbath Pass and HD Storm. There is a yellow flag, so so HD Storm, you do have to retake that place. I mean, you have to give that place back, as you undertook under the yellow flags, if you don't want to get a 5-second time penalty. But he does overtake him for P8 in today's race. Currently lap 23 of 33. As Good Roman currently extending 1 second to Mutant just ahead of him, so looks like he didn't really lose that much time, which is really good indeed. And Alexander, Patrick, and HD Storm pit for softs, so they are also going until the end of the race. I do expect a fastest lap, an even better fastest lap from Alexander. That lap was not the fastest that you can do, definitely. A 118.79. And if the leaders do pit, they might do something as well. As they are battling once again. I mean, they have been battling for the entire race, but not really overtaking. Not really overtaking themselves. Let's say that. And this looks like is not really the most interesting race, which I am very sorry about if this is not interesting. I said that I'm using a new streamer service. I'm switching from Streamlabs to OBS. I'm trying to stream with 180k to 180p. I'm experimenting that as well to stream on higher qualities, so the stream is lagging a little bit, and that is good because I want to see if my computer can contain it, or if I need to lower my bitrate a little bit. But yeah, let's see. I think the bitrate is actually okay. I think it's just 1080p is not really good. Oh, we have a retirement from Patrick, and he's into the wall. We might actually get a safety car, and we do not. But that was a really hard impact from the driver, who was looking pretty well with those new salts. As Alexander puts the new fastest lap time of a 117.8, he will get an additional in today's race, along with his 6th position, so that is going to be 9 points in total. And Good Roman is 6 seconds already behind Mutant, so if he manages to keep that gap, he will get the podium place, the final podium place. We are going to do post-race interview after the race, so be sure to check that out after the race. I hope that you stay long to witness that. It is my first time doing race interviews in like 8 months. I haven't done those by a long time, so I am going to be a little bit rusty. I am going to try to keep it interesting, try to ask questions that's interesting and important. So we will see the race from our driver's perspective for the first time in Nitrous Racing League. But yeah, I'm watching the stream and you are correct, there are quite a few dropped frames. I am going to need to fix that for an end. Next time, maybe try to stream on 720p and then see the difference if it's going to be better or worse. It's probably going to be better. Because this is my first time actually streaming on 1080p, because I want to see how it would handle, and you can see that it's not handling it well. So yeah, it's 720p is definitely going to be the way to go. Yeah, we are on lap 27 of 33, 6 laps remaining before the end of the race, and we don't have a lot of overtaking happening again. The leaders are close, they are close for the entire race, but yeah, still nothing really happening, which I am very sorry about. If the race you found uninteresting, we did try to keep it interesting, but yeah, with Portimao being a track as it is, you don't really see a lot of overtaking happening, and 12 people also, not a lot of people, so not many overtakes happening, and the pace difference is way too big in the PC tier, so yeah. Let's see the penalty again. 6 seconds for Mutant, M3, and Gods 23. Most positions gained is currently tied with 4 people, Good Roman, Nem, and Super Zaken. All of these drivers sharing 3 positions. Oh my god, the stream seriously is lagging a lot. I'll have to switch to 720p. Because this is way too bad. Way bad. I'm very sorry for the quality of the stream. Like I said, this is kind of an experiment, switching from Streamlabs to OBS and trying 1080p. Next, be sure to keep in mind that for next time it will be fixed, don't worry. The stream quality will be fixed. So yeah, all of these drivers share the most positions gained, and Alexander and HD Storm actually did a 3-stop, which is very interesting indeed, and everyone else a 1-stop except for Gods, 2-stop. And looks like Good Roman is not really looking well with pace. He is losing quite a bit of time to Unlimited, who is on 16 lap older tires and on hards. So I don't really know if it's because of the tire wear. We did see, I think Patrick or whoever it was, that softs could only last around 13 laps. So maybe it is just drop from the tires, as he is 5 seconds now. So probably Mutant made a big mistake, or Good Roman found the place where he gained most time. But if this keeps up, he will take the final spot of the final step of the podium. we are on the final for Eduardo nearly loses it at the exit of turn 14. This might give Giovanni a really good opportunity into turn 1, as Eduardo is not defending it. Let's see if Giovanni will try to make a move, and no, he stays behind. I think kinda why. But yeah, Giovanni stays behind for just a bit longer. I think that Giovanni will want to overtake Eduardo on literally the final lap, which is not gonna work, because Eduardo is going to defend crazy, like crazy. Eduardo will not want to give that position freely to his fellow Brazilian Giovanni. But yeah, we currently have 3 laps remaining in the race. Currently Eduardo is leading, Giovanni following him right behind. We currently are watching this battle unfold in these last 3 laps. Mutant in the Aston Martin, currently P3, but he does have a lot of penalties, so we might see him drop down to P4, and Good Roman to P3. A really good race for Alfa Romeo, with the other Alfa being in P5. Them taking 25 points. Then we have the other Mercedes guy, Alexander, not really having the luck that he wanted in both Mexico and today. So very unfortunate indeed, as I think that is Sabitbass currently spinning in turn 13. HD Storm is just ahead of him in P7, Super Zakin is behind in P9, and Gods is in the final points paying position in P10. Not having the best of races, to say the least. But Good Roman looking pretty good to take that final podium place, as Eduardo and Giovanni just pulling away from Mutant and from everyone else. The space from both of them is just incredible, even on 27 lap hold hards. In the interviews I will have to ask them how long these, how much tire wear they had on these tires. If one of these drivers will not have a puncture, I will surely be surprised, because this is incredible what they have achieved. And we have a retirement of Nem! Oh, that is not good. We were just talking about how Alfa Romeo are looking really good in positions. They were about to take very, very good points, but I guess you can't win them all. As HD Storm is in the pit lane for fresh softs. He probably wants to steal the fast lap from Alexander, which probably won't happen. No way. That's just way too fast. That's just a way faster lap that he is able to do. And seeing from the qualifying pace, no way that he can do it. But maybe, I don't know, as he loses the position to Sabitbass, as we do have another spin of HD Storm actually. So he probably lost control, or maybe he got blocked by Sabitbass. I do not really know what happened there. But we are currently still on board with our leaders. Like, we were on board with these for the entire race because nothing really was happening. But yeah, you can't really say anything about it, as we are on the final lap of the race. This is going to be the final opportunity for Giovanni as he goes around the outside. Eduardo defending the inside. Let's see Giovanni trying to make a dive bomb, but stays behind. Eduardo currently leading still in today's race. Maybe Giovanni will have an opportunity in this corner, as he is using all of his ERS in his disposal, and he tries to go for the dive bomb. As Eduardo goes really wide, he will have a better exit, as both of them are using ERS. Giovanni goes around the outside. Eduardo has the inside line and takes it. He is still going to be P1. Let's see if Giovanni will maybe try and make a move right here, trying to go around the inside, another dive bomb as they touch a little bit, and Giovanni actually spins because of that collision, but thankfully he manages to save the car. But I think that this is going to be a race win for Eduardo if he doesn't spin in these last few corners. And looks like he will keep it clean. And looks like Eduardo is going to take his second win for Mercedes and his third win in today's leagues. Congratulations to Eduardo in the Mercedes and Giovanni for retiring after the finish line. Congratulations. But now we have this fight behind, or not really a fight, but these people battling for positions as Good Roman is currently trying to capitalize on Mutant's penalties, and looks like he might win because of that. Mutant crosses line, P3 on track, but Good Roman also finishes in P3. A podium place for the Alfa Romeo driver. Really good points, and congratulations to him. As Alexander finishes P5, HD Storm is P6, Sabbath Pass is P7, Super Zaken is P8, Goats is P9, Nem, Patrick and Giatis retired from the race, but they will still get a point, or at least Nem in the Alfa Romeo. My driver of the day is definitely going to be Good Roman. He had the pace in the beginning of the race, trying to battle with the leaders, and before they overtook him, he really took the fight to them, and to finish on the podium with quite a few bad races, I think that's deserving of a driver of the day. But you cannot discourage that. Eduardo and Giovanni did an impressive job as well, so really good for them as well. Stay on the stream, as we are currently going to move to post-race interviews. As we finish this, we do need to check incidents if some of the drivers want to remove some penalties. So we have a race director right here for them, and there we go. So Eduardo wins today's race, really good pace from him. Giovanni follows him right behind in P2, and Good Roman finishes on the final spot on the podium. Mutant finishes P4, Alexander P5, HD Storm P6, Sabbath Bass P7, Super Zaken P8, Goats P9, and Nem takes the final points paying position for Alfa Romeo. And but unfortunately he retired. He would have finished P10, P5. So very unfortunate indeed. And then the other retirements are Patrick and Driatis. So very unfortunate indeed. So we are going to move to interviews right now. I hope that everything is going to be well, and we do already have some people right here, and we already do have our winner and podium contender, Good Roman, in the voice call with me. Can you just confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello. And Eduardo, are you here as well?
Yep.
Okay. Let's start with you, Eduardo. First of all, congratulations on the race win. Really impressive, and you had a pretty close battle with Giovanni. Were you expecting for a bit of a closer battle? Like, he didn't really battle with you, or you didn't really go side by side for a long time, and only on the final lap he really tried to push you. So, did you expect more from him, or are you just happy to finish in P1?
So this race was sort of excited. This battle, so many battles with Giovanni in sector 1, sector 2, sector 3, last lap. This is also so excited with this battle. I think I happy for finishing in P1. But yeah, figure that's all my idea about past moments.
Of course. Do you think that the race went as you expected? And might I ask the strategy decision in the first few laps? When the safety car went on track, you decided to go for hards. Was that the original strategy, or was that decided because of the safety car?
So the original strategy was medium for hard, but safety car goes to few laps so early. So me and Alex, we went to hard, and this is alternative strategy for us today.
And it looks like it paid out for you as well. One final question. Do you think that you can continue with this pace, and will we see you take another win maybe in Bahrain?
I can't say nothing for the race, but because I really haven't an idea about what time I will do. So it's in sky what that will happen in Bahrain.
Of course. Well, it has been a pleasure talking with you, and thank you for having an interview. Thank you very much, and congratulations again on the win.
Thanks, and Sam.
Okay, next up we have a contender for the win today. It's Giovanni in the AlphaTauri. How are you doing today?
Well, it was a tough race. I couldn't train so much today because I had some lessons from school to do, but I did like 5 laps, 10 laps before the race to try to get a good pace, because I knew that Eduardo was fast, could be fast on this track, and as the last race too. But yeah, I don't, before the race I don't expect to the strategy be we started with medium tires. I thought we would be with soft, but I was wrong. And then I validated my two first laps and the quali with the softs, not intentionally, but I did. And after that I saw Eduardo with only 1 lap with the mediums and Alexander going to the mediums too. I went to the pit and put the mediums on, and I tried to get pole on the medium sets, and it was I did, you know, with a little bit of mistakes on the lap, but I did. The starts the start wasn't too good. Eduardo could make the turn on side by side with me. We did almost one lap, an entire lap side by side, but I stay ahead. But after he overtakes me, and I just try to maintain on his DRS and his pace to try to make some ERS to try to overtake him and open 1 second gap after the pits or before, a little bit earlier from the pit stop. But we had the safety car, and it changed a lot of the strategy. I was a little bit confused what tires to put on when it went out, but I saw the Mercedes pit putting the hard tires on Alexander, then I put the hard tire too. I knew it would go to the end, and yeah, I made I think 3 or 4 overtakes in the restart lap, and it was good for me. But I tried to open a gap to Eduardo after those overtakes, but it didn't happen because I don't remember who was, but a Haas with softs didn't help me. But yeah, I stay ahead for a while of Eduardo, but after some laps he overtook me, and I just stay behind to make some ERS to try to overtake he on the final lap. But yeah, he was so quick on the straight, I couldn't do it in the final lap. But yeah, congrats to him, to Goodroman, and yeah, let's go to the next round.
Of course. Also, I wanted to ask Eduardo that, but I forgot. How much percentage was on your hearts? You took them around 29 laps, like from the beginning to the end. So I'm really wondering by how much tire wear did you have on the tires? Of course, if you don't know the answer, then we can just move on to another question.
Wait, that was for Eduardo or for me?
For you, because I forgot to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see, but some laps before the end of the race, I've seen it was 59% or something. I think we finished the races with 70% or like that.
That's actually pretty close to the puncture zone. That could have made the race very, very interesting. But
Yeah.
are we expecting you to show dominant performance like you had today in Bahrain as well?
Yeah, I hope so. I will train a little bit more for Bahrain, then let's see what comes.
Of course. Well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. Congratulations again for P2. Unfortunate that you lost the win, but it's always the next time for improvement.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya. And finally, we are on the final guy on the podium, Good Roman. Welcome.
Well, yeah, thank you. Congrats to Giovanni and Santos first, and so ask me anything you want.
First of all, I would like I would like to congratulate you on P3. That is your first podium, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, my first.
How do you feel about it?
Well, it wasn't so interesting for me, but I didn't have the setup. I didn't know strategy. It was just pure luck, I guess, pure whatever happens. So I went for mediums. They were like 73-74% on the left front. My setup was quite bad, and the degradation on the left front was really high, like 15% more than on the other tires. So yeah, it was bad. Yeah, and also on the soft run, I finished with 74%, I think, on the left. So yeah, it was on the limit of the tires. So I didn't have any more pace. This was maximum from today's race, and yeah, these guys are just too fast for me. That's everything.
At least you managed to maintain the gap to the Aston Martin driver, which gave you today's podium. Speaking of your battle with our leaders, you really had the advantage at the end of the safety car, managing to keep both Eduardo and Giovanni for quite a few laps. And to be honest, that was very impressive. Did you feel any pressure while knowing that few of the fastest drivers in PC were right behind your back?
Well, to be honest, this I'm playing on controller, so DualShock 4, PlayStation 4 controller, and this also when I play in other leagues, I play with ABS on, so my times are faster, like 1 second from this. So I didn't feel any pressure from it. So yeah.
Well, that is nice to hear. It's also unfortunate that your teammate has retired in the final few laps, but these 15 points surely will come in handy in the drivers' championship for you. Did you think that today's strategy was the one that you wanted to use, or did you want to maybe capitalize on the safety car like Eduardo or Giovanni did?
Well, to be honest, I didn't think they will make it to the end with that tire, so I was quite surprised on the end. And now when I hear Giovanni say his tire was like 50-something%, that's quite low. I can do it on a controller. I think just front tires they always degrade more, like 10% than on the wheels. So yeah, that's the difference.
Of course. And the final question. Well, I ask this everyone. Are we expecting you to keep this pace and maybe get another podium in Bahrain?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm all for it. So I will try, of course, and enjoy the battle. And I hope my teammate won't damage his wing on my car again, like this race. Yeah, so. Let's have fun and race fairly, and that's all about it. Yeah.
Of course. Well, you're a fellow Croatian, so you know that I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Hvala.
Nema na čemu. So, again, congratulations for the final spot on the podium. These 15 points will definitely come in handy for you in terms of the Drivers' Championship, and we do hope to see you again on the podium in the next few races.
Thank you.
Of course. See you then next time.
Okay, bye.
So, this has been the Portuguese Grand Prix. I hope that you have enjoyed today's commentary and the race. Before we end the stream, I would just like to thank our partners, Buo F1, F1 TikTok, F1 Fans, and Inside Curb Racing. Thank you for partnering with us, and I hope that we can continue this partnership for quite a few years, or actually months. I think that's a reasonable deal. But yeah, we saw a pretty good race today. Not really too many battles happening out on track, but the leaders kept it very clean and very intense every single lap. We didn't really know if they were overtaking or not, so that was the main point of the race. Next race is going to be in Bahrain, and I really hope to see you there. The track is pretty infamous for high tire wear, so I don't think we might see people pitting in the beginning stages and going until the end, because the tires are just gonna be dead. So the strategy calls are probably gonna be a 2-stop, but every driver decides for themselves. I hope that you have enjoyed today's commentary and the race. My name is Kickerlin, and we will see you next Thursday at the exact same time as today for the Bahrain Grand Prix. See you next time and stay safe.